Hi, what's up, everybody? You are watching On the Town. And today I am with a special guest. He is a self taught artist who began his graffiti art career as a founding member of the Odd Partners, and his name Top would make history by dominating the subway lines during the mid to late 1970s. He is here to share his latest work, his book, legendary New York City graffiti artist James Top, My Life. Please welcome James Top. What's up? I got my copy. How's it going, James?
Well, it's going well. I want to, thank everybody for, tuning in and actually getting a chance to, hear what I have to say. Heavens know you could be somewhere else, but you're here with us today. And, it's always a blessing, to be on your show, to reach so many beautiful people out there. And, thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you so much for coming. I really appreciate it. I know, just got out of a pandemic, and so things are moving back and forth, but um, it is what it is. So you've been known as curator, activist, educator, and now a new author. Tell us about
Yeah.
your new book and what we can expect.
Well, thank you very much, and adding the author title to so many other those other titles, um, being a member of the Hip Hop Hall of Fame, being the co-director along my man Joey TDS of the New York City Graffiti Hall of Fame,
Mhm.
being director of the New York City Graffiti Event Center, muralist. Author is something very very special. um, now people can get an opportunity to read about my life, and I just want to say my book was 100% written by myself.
Mm,
Everything that you read in that book, I wrote it, no one else.
mm.
It was edited by Janet Mackin, who's my assistant director at the New York City Graffiti Event Center. It is 100% produced and self-published by me. And it's important that I let people know that there was no one else involved with this book. It comes from 100% James Top.
Uh,
Um, and I'm very proud to that. I'm happy that Henry Chiffant, Eric Dill from 149th Street,
mhm.
Ralph McDaniels, founder and the first person to have a show on television about hip hop,
Mhm.
and the great photographer Jamel Shabazz
Oh.
blessed me with my cover photo.
Mm-hmm.
And
It's
I'm
great.
extremely proud of the book, which is a evolution of myself growing up
Mhm.
in the East New York section of Brooklyn,
Mm.
all the way up to today in Harlem, and all those different titles that I am. I am a self-published author.
That's
And
right.
thank you for the opportunity to speak to people about my book, my life. I
Mhm.
didn't want to complicate it
Right.
with a whole lot of different characters
Right.
that came in and out of my life. Throughout my life, because I know a lot of people, and a lot of people played important roles in
Mhm.
my life. This particular book focuses on my career
Mhm.
as a pioneer graffiti artist,
Mhm.
all the way back in the 70s,
Yes.
to today. I get a chance to talk about my family. For those that don't know, I'm just one of nine, children.
Hmm.
Rest in peace to my mother and rest in peace to my father. All of
Hmm.
my sisters and my brother are all very much alive today and healthy. I'm extremely proud of all of them and what they have accomplished in their lives. And I know my mother and father are looking down on us and very, very happy uh, for what how we turned out as siblings and as human beings and people that are contributing to society.
Hmm.
Definitely want to give big ups to my life partner Bettina Matthews, as well as my daughter,
Yeah.
because without them support me when other people did not support me. Um, I'm, I'm I'm thankful that I have them in my life because no matter if nobody don't show up to no event
Hmm.
and nobody don't do this and nobody don't do that
Hmm.
and I feel I have my family behind me to support me and they with me all the way to the end and that kind of love is very rare out here and you can't buy it. They've been with me since day one that I decided to dedicate my life to um, being someone that is significant in this art form and in this culture.
Wow, that's amazing. There is nothing like support of family,
Yeah.
and like you said, it's a very competitive business. I think tagging, because I want to outdo you.
Yeah, there are thousands of other guys out there, and they all have stories. Hopefully, they'll be able to get their stories out.
Hmm.
Right now I'm focusing on my story
Hmm.
and get my stories out. Actually past the circles that I'm already in. Pretty much. Uh,
Yes.
a lot of these people know my stories, but then as you step outside of my circle,
Hmm.
no one knows my story. And these are the people that I want to know about James Top. Not
Yes.
necessarily the people that, hit me with likes on, social media because, I've been doing this being a graffiti writer for a long time. We talking about more than 4 decades,
Yes.
and that's a long time. I've been actively um, curating, producing shows,
Yes.
um, 24/7 for the last since Donnie died in 1998.
That's right.
I've given and will continue to give as much as I can
Hmm.
to advocate for this art form because I love it so much. And the people that were in my life that are no longer here, I'm also here to represent them.
Uh,
And when I ain't here no more, then I ain't here no more. But I'm here now, and I'm gonna be doing my thing.
well, that's the thing. You guys forgive the echo. That is, we're guessing my side. We're not sure what's going on. But you're preserving the legacy with the book. I noticed. How did you pick the pieces to put in the book? Because there's so many. How did,
Yeah. Well, we try to break down the book and have the photograph relative to whatever chapter you're on. Like the first chapter is about my family, and of course, there's a photo of my mother and father in there. There's a photo of me when I was very young. Believe it or not, at one point I was young. Um, there's also photos of our early works on the train, with the art partners,
yes.
and those years, yeah, those years were very, very special to me,
Yes.
because instead of getting involved in all the other things that I've got involved in, and back in those days, there was a lot of crime,
Yes.
a lot of poverty. There were drugs back then, gangs back then. But I decided to get involved.
I
Yeah,
had to do it. I'm sorry.
yeah. I was working for the MTA, I guess. Um,
Uh,
I decided to get involved with the graffiti art movement, and eventually I would team up with Mickey and Hurst,
yeah.
and we would form the legendary Art Partners crew. I
Yes.
was there at the table when we first started the crew. Um,
Wow. What
it, wa-
made
it, wa-
you? How did like that come up?
well, we all wanted something new. I mean, it was, if you read the book, it was on um, the death of Stem One, who was the first graffiti artist to die, I guess, in the line of duty, actually running from a New York City transit cop, and somehow there was an accident, and he fell through the cars, and he got ran over by the train. We all were part of a crew called the 3 Yard Boys at the time, but we felt more of a closeness to want to strictly represent
Mhm.
Brooklyn, and the strength of Brooklyn, which was uh, East New York, Brownsville, and Bedford Stuyvesant,
Right.
I lived in those communities for the kind of first half of my life, and it was pretty rough for us because we became very much wanted by the transit authority to try to lock us up, slow us down. So people don't know that we lived a nomadic life, running from the police, from train lines to train lines, and they would often come to our houses, and we are underage, but that didn't stop them from continuously harassing us, and trying to lock us up. And we felt the need to continue to paint our names on the train. Every time they raced them, we were right back to continue to put our names up on the trains. We mastered a brand new style to take over train lines called the throw up.
Oh, the
And
throw up. Yes.
yeah, and the art partners were amongst,
Throw up.
and became the best throw up crew in New York City. There were other crews, but eventually we stood out from the other crews, and we became the standard
Mhm.
of the throw up, and started the movement that is still a part of most graffiti artists' repertoire today.
Now wait. So since you mentioned the throw up, what's the difference between a throw up and like a tag? I know there's like quite a few. There's like seven styles type of stuff.
Well, I mean, we can kind of break them down into, three different sizes,
Okay.
to make it easy for people to understand.
Okay.
The tag
Mhm.
is basically your signature,
Okay.
and you would practice that to make your signature unique and your own.
Right.
The next size, which we would be like a medium size, would be the throw up. It is not far from um, the tag, in that it is basically two colors,
Okay.
very much expression from who you are, that makes you unique. And it's basically two colors: the inside
Hmm.
and the outline.
Okay.
And when we was doing it, basically back then in those days,
Right.
we was basically rocking silvers, and we were rocking blacks. We were getting the majority of our paints from auto supply stores,
Mhm.
and we would get a lot of silvers, and a lot of blacks,
So like
high heat
this.
silvers. You got it.
Okay. That's what
You
I thought.
got it.
Okay.
You got it. You got it. And then the third size,
Mm-hmm.
which is a large size,
Mm-hmm.
which is a burner style, which um, it comprises of a complicated outline,
Right. So like Donnie,
or yeah, well,
two. That's
that more is like a blockbuster style.
okay.
But a burner style can be a blockbuster style
Mm-hmm.
along with multicolors, multi designs,
Mm-hmm.
3 dimensional,
Okay. Three dimensional.
and it can also be supported. Yep, there's some G's supported by backgrounds and characters. So that
Oh,
would be a burner style because it consists of everything, whereas the tags and the throw up does not consist of everything.
right.
Not meaning that you can't put them in there,
Right.
but the definition of a tag is a signature. The definition of a throw up is
So a
something that you
signature.
could do. That is a tag.
Yeah, okay.
Okay.
Got it.
So basically, we have 3 different styles. You have tag, throw up, and burner style.
Okay.
Okay, burner style being the one that takes up more time. It
Yeah.
is much more complicated,
Right.
and it has everything in it. That would be a burner style.
Right. Okay. So thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah. In case anybody, I have an idea because I've been
Sure,
on.
you're affiliated with and by the way, congratulations to your grandson
Thank you.
who was actually born on the same day as Donnie White,
I
who
know.
was a protege of mine back in the day.
Don.
And I get a chance to talk about him and the early beginnings of him associating with myself and Mickey and hers because he looked up to us, but he became one of the most
Legend.
recognizable
Legend.
figures in this art form.
In case you haven't seen it, guys, that's Don.
Yep.
Just one. That's just one of many.
Yep, that's just one. Actually, that is from the flyer from the first show
Oh.
that I had. It was called the Donnie Memorial Show,
Oh.
and in 1990, did it was 98 or 90. And he passed in 1998, and in
Mhm.
1999, I had an exhibit for him in Harlem, which started me. I just wanted to do one show, but it started me on a mission to do more than 400 shows and other presentations as far as this graffiti art concerned. And I sort of carved out a new legacy for myself, other than with the art partners.
Mhm.
To me, is continuously making myself relevant, and also to continue to uplift and improve this art form in the perception of the general public, as well as for those great contributors to this art form. I consider myself a second generation graffiti artist because there
Wow.
was another generation
Like cornbread.
before me. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, like cornbread and like Stay High,
Yes, they have.
like Lava,
Yes.
rest in peace to him, and all those other great graffiti artists that started, before me, and blazed those trails, and laid down the path for myself, and for the generation that was part of the movement that I was part of, called the Throw Up Movement, which was the most active period in graffiti history, and I'm talking about from 1974 to 1977.
Wow. So you cover some of that in your book.
Yes, yes. I also cover, my transition from the trains now, to the streets,
Mhm.
because I was one of the first people um, actually writing big time in Bedford Stuyvesant, and I said, at one point, um, I was one of the biggest early hip hop, stars in Bedford Stuyvesant. I would write on Biggie's block just because it was St. James Place. And I would write up and down Fulton Street, and this is before Biggie got started, before
Right.
Kane got started, before Jay-Z got started. Um,
Right.
I was big in Bed-Stuy, and um, that sort of kept my life stabilized. Then eventually, after Donnie's death,
Hmm.
I would revitalize my legacy
Hmm.
by doing and producing a lot of the graffiti art shows in New York City.
Yes, you're the only one I know for doing that. So it sticks in my head. What Sorry about that, girl. What I see the piece behind you with the afro. How did
Yes.
you get inspired to do those kind of pieces that are maybe some people say, is it political or is it,
Well. Yeah. You know, when you come from, you know, the East New Yorks, the Brownsvilles, and the Bedford Stuyvesants, and Harlem, um, you know, it was always in my nature because, you know, first of all, I've always wanted to express myself
Mhm,
about what was going on in my community, as
mhm,
well as express myself about how we've been treated
mm,
in this country all these years like second class citizens
mm,
if we didn't work 400 years for free in this country.
right.
So early when I was writing on the trains,
Mhm,
I was inspired to draw a picture of a black man, but I didn't have artistic skills. You know, I've never
oh,
gone to art school.
what?
And everything that I learned from the streets. And I had went in the train yards and started actually doing pictures of a black man next to my name on the train. At
Mhm,
that time, I was known as G2, and that was JEE2.
yes.
Later on, I would be known as James Top
Mhm,
from the Bedford Stuyvesant community. And I'm known as James Top now, and people actually don't know that my name is actually James, and Top is my crew,
right.
and I go by that. But back in those days, they
Right.
thought it was all one word. They were saying James Stop, and they are there are hundreds of stories about my name from people that now got a chance to read the book
Right.
because somehow I'm becoming even more popular than I was before because people want to read the book, and I'm just right now in the midst of actually pushing the book again.
Hmm.
I had my first book signing in Newark, New Jersey, as opposed to New York City because I want people outside of my circles to know about me. So that turned into sort of like a 12 city book signing tour,
Smart.
which is taking me first to Newark, New Jersey, New Haven, Connecticut, North Philly. I'll be there with Cornbread soon and Danny Simmons from the Rush Gallery. I'll be in Prince County, Maryland. I'll be in Dover, Delaware, and Wilmington, Delaware, Baltimore, Maryland, Atlanta, Georgia, and eventually I'll make it down to Miami, hopefully in time for the art bestseller. I already got an invitation to do that from the people at the Museum of Graffiti Art, you know, down there. But I think when it sums up, is that my book is really about my struggle
Mhm.
to make sure that this art is going to be accredited in a college or university right here in New York City first.
Right.
This is the mecca of this art form,
Right.
and why haven't the SUNY system or the CUNY system accreditate this art form first? I've been the I've worked at two universities here in New York City, one being Hostos Community College. When they first found out that I was teaching there, they tried to get me fired and they was protesting.
Right.
and then I also taught at City College as
Okay.
well. But
Wow.
there is a need for this art form, along with hip hop, to be
Yes.
accredited in our university system.
Absolutely.
Because I feel that we are just as good as any other art form, and why this art form is not accredited,
No,
they should look at themselves. I think they are very intelligent people to know that there is some merit to this art form, which is a worldwide art form. It is no longer just here in New York City, because it used to just be here in New York City
right.
at one point.
Right.
But now it is, there's not a country you can go to and not see this art form. And some of the major contributors to this art form are still alive, and we need to honor them while we still can, while they are still alive. And why wait
Till
and support someone when they're no longer here, when you can do
absolutely.
that today. But my goal is to eventually
Hmm.
work with some people to have an institution dedicated to this art form again here in New York City. Love what they're doing down in Miami, Florida.
Yes.
Thank God of that. But
Right.
also too, I think that New York City needs an institution dedicated to this art form here, not only for tourists, not only for all the great contributors of this art form, but
Hmm.
also a place where people can actually learn about this art form in an academic environment.
Absolutely. Now, the reason why I think they keep giving such a hard time, because remember when it was seen as vandalism, because it wasn't the actual art. They said it was being on a building that's not the person tagging, right? So, with that being said, now we know the greats like yourself and Dondi and Stan 153. I mean, and even Dave Chino. If
Sure.
his work is like, I mean, amazing, absolutely amazing. So there's no difference to me between a Picasso
Well,
and
yeah, we,
your work.
first of all, I'm not going to be responsible, and I don't know who are committing random acts of vandalism. I think that we're not, we gone past that.
Yes,
First of all, this art form is an art revolution. This
yes,
art form is actually, the spray paint can is now taken over the paintbrush being the number one medium to use to create art, and especially outdoor.
yes,
Like, you could now work in a grand scale.
yes.
And that is because of this revolution and how we were starting. You have to remember, back in those days,
Mhm.
they took away all the art programs from us, so we couldn't learn in school. So the only place that we could learn this art form, learn art,
Mhm.
this was the only art form that was available in our communities.
Right.
So we had hundreds and thousands of units of abandoned buildings.
Yes. Yes.
Mostly, we were learning to use the spray paint can and practicing on those buildings.
Right.
So it is not the same today. We
Right.
need to also find more places for this art form to exist at in this city. And we
Yes.
need to also add this art form more within the fabric of the educational system on all levels here in New York City and nationally and worldwide.
Well, I think
Um,
we can get it done with the petition too, James. I mean, what Tony has a
well,
good idea.
petitions. I mean, is evident the power and the beauty of this art form, as you could look in any urban community worldwide and see this art form. But
Mhm.
petition is one thing. I actually believe that everything, we didn't call ourselves graffiti artists. We called ourselves writers. We
Right.
were not known. Those are anything that comes out of our community, they're afraid of, and they tag negative words too. And you have to remember that most of these major innovators and contributors of this art form are people of color too.
Well, I was going to
Now,
ask.
if this was the other way around, it'd be something different altogether.
Absolutely. I was going to
And
ask you about.
we start getting into those matrix again on why this ain't happening, why that ain't happening, because of the
Mhm.
communities that this art form came out of and represent people like me.
Exactly. And another thing I noted, if they were so concerned about the buildings, why didn't they put people in them? They left them. I mean, those
There
buildings were
you go.
horrific.
For years, we've been
Right.
asking them to help us rebuild our communities, and they haven't. And now New York City is having a problem where there isn't any more affordable housing for poor people,
Nope.
and that's got to change. There's a new election for mayor, and hopefully we're going to get someone that has that as a number one priority, and also to have a priority of justice and fairness as far as the criminal justice is concerned, because we've been on the wrong end of that as well. So
Of
we
course.
start getting into some of these same things, and why. um,
Mm,
we know why.
right.
We know why. We know that why that there's a problem of black men being killed by law enforcement,
Yes.
and
High number.
we need to change all of these things, and now is the time to make these changes because they are long overdue.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And this is where your activism comes in. Uh,
Most definitely. I'm here to represent the people from my communities and the struggles that we've gone through,
mhm.
and the American experience has not been a happy one for African Americans, and for anybody to think that these problems are solved, they're fooling themselves, because you're not fooling us. We need immediate
Yes.
social change
Yes.
in this country. And
Yes.
there's no longer, you can't hit us with the rhetoric that you've been hitting us with, and we need change today. My artwork has always been that of expression of social change in this country. I'm not one of those who've been drawing these smiley faces
Right.
when they've been locking us up for no reasons for
Yes.
years.
And they won't lock up somebody like a Keith Haring.
They won't lock up in, and these same people now are taking another art form
Mm-hmm.
that is called street art, that mimics and looks like graffiti art, but it's not. And some of the top 10
Yep.
artists and graffiti artists, whatever, are white. They're not black.
Yep. I
There's
saw
not
that. I was like,
one
what?
brother within the top 10. Now, I'm
Right.
not here to hate on any artist,
Right.
because I don't want nobody hating on me.
Right.
But then we seem that we getting into, this is now also getting into art itself.
Yes. It's
And
about respect.
where is our respect? Where,
That's
where, where
all
is
about
our
respect.
respect?
It's all about respect. You guys were there before any of these new jacks that are popping up. They're talking about they're great. I'm like, how are you great? And you only been in this like 3 years. What's up with that?
We we're survivors, and big up to all those riders that
Yes.
came before me.
Yes.
Heavens know, for all the doors that opened up for me, and there've been twice as many closed on me. I've always wanted to be, what separates me from other graffiti artist is that more and more of a community kind of person, that I've done community murals. I've also taught for just about all the major nonprofit organizations here in New York City, whether it's the Children's Aid Society, I've worked with homeless youth,
Yes.
and I believe in teaching these young people how to express themselves in order to help them become better people and better contributors in society as opposed to holding it into them. Let them use their imaginations and their creativity to create art.
Yes.
And
Instead of chaos.
exactly,
Yes.
exactly. Instead of even using artificial things to make them
Right.
feel
Like
happy
being or yeah.
with creating art,
Yeah. Yes.
and
And
that's the new drug.
it should be because I'm telling you, there's no way that it cannot help you. Art is amazing. I'm an artist, we abstract. But speaking of art, you are at the Schomburg now? Is that correct?
Yes, yes.
Ooh,
Yeah, yeah.
you're gonna get
Very,
to that museum
very
one day.
great. Something else that I came to live and raise my daughter in Harlem 30 years ago. Um, for those that don't know, the Schomburg is a place where you could research black culture here from America and find um, hard to find resources on African Americans. And I just like to say that the James Top collection is there at the Schomburg. I
Yes,
am
that's big.
immensely happy. It also connects me with this Harlem community
Yes.
that I love so much. So
Wow.
I know my work is going to be hard to find in some of the other institutions that are not
Yes.
black,
Right.
because I am so black. So now you could go to the
Are
Schomburg
you really?
and you could find accurate information
Yes.
about James Top
Yes.
and everything from photos to canvases,
Wow.
everything on James Top. I'm part of the most prestigious collection
Oh,
of African Americans in the world. The Schomburg is considered that
wow.
place, and I'm happy to be there. Big up to Joy Bivens, who is now the director there,
Joy.
and big up, to Tammy Lawson for, you know, fighting to get me in there.
Mm.
Big ups to those two um, beautiful queens.
Wow. That is
Yeah,
big, James.
yeah,
That's like history right there.
yeah,
That is
yeah,
history. You
yeah,
are going to
yeah.
get this in all the curriculums. You're going to get it. It's going to happen. I feel it because
Well,
you're very
we look we look forward to it. I mean, it should happen. It's only right, and it's only fair
yes.
that we have contributed so much to this country as far as culture is concerned,
Yes.
history is concerned,
Yes.
and it's now time to treat us with equality and treat us with fairness in all walks of life.
Absolutely.
It's bad when we don't feel that the police is actually here to protect us.
Yes, it is. Well, I can't believe we're running out of time. So I got two more questions for you.
Sure.
One, I know originally graffiti might have started when you were younger about the fame, getting your name out everywhere, but
Yeah.
now it's about the legacy and preserving the legacy.
Right.
So you're
Right.
doing that through the museums. You're trying to get a curriculum in the colleges.
Right.
Any other places you're trying to get it?
Well, in television, Graffiti NYC
Right.
um,
I forgot. That's right.
is been on the air for 22 years. The only person I know besides you
That's right.
is is Ralph McDaniels.
That's yes.
is
That was
is
one of my
because
items.
he's been on the air for
Ever.
35 years.
Yes.
Big up to Ralph for being a real role model and someone that we could look up to and say, listen, he could do it, then I could do it too. And I feel the same way about my show.
Yes.
Um, that if I could do it, you could do it too. We need more shows
Yes. To
from
cover.
us on the air that is an accurate representation of who we are for
Right.
real,
Right.
and not a stereotype. My show is about the people, places, and events of New York City graffiti culture,
Right.
and I come on every Sunday, 1:30 a.m. Channel 67 on the Manhattan Neighborhood Network. You can also see my show on a live stream at www.mnn.org, and you could see it on your phone, your laptop, your
Yeah.
desktop, and that's every Sunday.
Awesome.
Um,
Oh, every Sunday.
in order to get my book, because I guess that was the next question that you're going to ask me, right?
Yes. I was going to ask, where can we get that book?
Yep. Now, I just want people to know that I personally try to I will sign every copy that I ship out. You could contact me on Instagram,
Uh-huh. Instagram.
James Top Productions,
Wait a minute.
Facebook, James Top, or you can email me at nycgraffitievents@gmail.com, and I'll get you a signed copy of my book. It costs $30. It costs $10 for shipping here, United States. Shipping is a different number altogether all around the world, but here in the United States, I can get you your book
Yes.
in a few days. If you include the $10.
Yeah.
I'm You can also
You
get
got
my
my
book.
copy.
Yep, you can also get my book at the Scrap Yard,
Scrap. Yeah. Oh.
Revolution Books,
Oh.
here at 437 Malcolm X Boulevard, Harlem. And you can now get my book at Art Primo, and that's a national,
Ah.
art distributing company. You can get markers from them and everything else.
Nice.
And I'm working on a number of other places.
Hmm.
So by the end of January, my book will be much easier to get.
Okay.
I try to sign every copy of the book. I personally sign it to you if
Right.
you get in contact with me
Right.
through my Instagram or Facebook.
Okay. That's
Or you can ask Tanya
Tanya.
and let her, connect you with me, and I'll
Fact.
get you a signed copy of my book.
Yes.
Again, it's entitled My Life,
Yes.
and I think it's a good book.
It is a good book. And anybody who is into art and especially graffiti, particularly, I mean, because I don't separate, let's say a Picasso from you. You know what I'm saying? Like back
You
in the
you
day,
you should, and
but I
I'm
should.
happy you're doing. I don't necessarily agree
Mhm.
on how they try to box you up and say that
Exactly.
James did you are this
Exactly.
because you're not that.
No, but here's the thing.
I'm an artist.
Mhm.
I'm an educator. I'm a curator. I'm an administrator,
Yep.
and I'm also an author.
That's it. And you know what's funny? You know where I learned that lesson? I know it's sad I learned it late. Well, actually, I saw Kehoe do a piece that made me say, "Hmm, that's that's not just letters. What's going on?" And then
Right.
when I saw a piece that Dave Kino did,
Sure.
it's like, "Whoa, he did some girl. It's just beautiful,
Yeah, yeah,
beautiful."
yeah.
And I
There,
was like,
there,
"Oh, let me
there are a
find."
lot of incredible artists, and we are new to the
Yes,
art world,
yes,
but we are part of the art world. We are
yes,
part of a new wave of artists. You got to remember this art form has been around for about 50, 60 years.
yeah,
And like I said before, most of the major innovators and contributors to this art form are still alive. Big ups to them. Big
yes,
ups for all those people that call themselves writers,
yes.
graffiti artists, aerosol artists, whatever.
So
Let's keep on telling our stories, y'all.
that's right. Well, last thing before you go, I know you got to go. What? Give me one piece of advice for somebody out there. What does it take to become a graffiti artist today?
Dedication. Oh, you have to also be a good listener. and just try to surround yourself with positive, good people.
Mhm.
There are a lot of people out here that says that you need to be this and you need that. You know, you got to go to jail. You got to. All these are fallacies.
Right.
Learn history.
Mm.
Learn history, and big ups to those who laid down the paths before you
Mm.
because they've gone through a great sacrifice
Mm.
to this art form to still be here. People have
Yes.
died for this. People have lost their lives for this.
Yeah.
And you know, big rest in peace to all those guys. Stan 153,
Mm.
Nick 707, Lava, Stem 1, Chair 1, PG3, Donnie, and the list goes on and on and on.
Wow. Well, thank you so much for taking
You're
the
welcome.
time to
You're
come and check
welcome.
us out. We appreciate you. You always the
That's
graffiti
right.
god and the graffiti legend. Get this book, guys. If you don't know where to get it, hit me up and we'll make sure that you get it. Um, and somebody said something. Tony gave a good idea. He said that this should be, we should create an urban museum.
It should be.
Yes, that's
That
that's
that that it should be.
mhm.
And you know, one day, hopefully, it will be.
It will be. I'm putting it
You
out.
know, it's not because our art form is inferior by any stretch of the imagination. And you gotta remember, we started this art form off with nothing.
I remember. That's right. Look,
Nothing.
a marker and a dream.
That's right.
All right.
That's right.
So on that note, I think we'll leave. But Grandma Norma says she wants a copy. She wants to buy a copy. She's in
Sure.
Brooklyn by you. So
Yeah,
yeah.
yep. She can inbox me, or she can get her information to you, and
Yep.
I'll make sure that she gets her book ASAP,
We'll get it.
signed by myself.
That's right. We're getting happy, Grandma. Don't worry, I got you. So thank you so much,
You're
Jay.
welcome.
You know, I always call you my art brother
That's right.
for life.
Always will be.
That's
You
right.
know, and we also, you know, sort of like a TV, you know,
TV brother
mates
and
and
sister.
everything. Yeah, yeah.
I'm your bigger sister by a couple of something.
That's right.
Yeah,
Hey, listen, don't stop, and everybody watch on the town
that's
with
right.
Tanya.
Tanya, that's right. You say my name like my grandma from Louisiana accent.
Well, Tanya, because it sounds more like Tanya to me than
That's
Tanya.
what everybody says in Louisiana, but it's Tanya.
Thank you,
But
Tanya.
it's okay. So yeah, we'll be checking you out. I can't wait. And Grandma will get a copy for sure.
Yes, we
And
will.
guys, don't forget if you need to find where to get the book, inbox me or inbox James. And I thank you again, my brother. You're the best. Just gonna end it with some music. And guys, don't forget to watch again on Thursday. I'll be back. Bye. Let's see. Hey guys, so if you need a comedian for hire, guys, try Tony Viagra. Yes, if you need a comedian for hire, please email Tony Viagra Comedy at gmail.com. He is a comedian for hire. And thank you so much for watching.